All right, a very good morning to you. Happy Monday. I hope you're not dealing with Monday blues this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Your World. My name is Winnie Lubembe. And of course, today's conversation is an interesting one, if you ask me. And of course, we are dealing with Generation Alphas, and we just want to understand, how do we raise this generation, all right? And of course, it's a generation of so many fasts, which we'll be looking at very, very shortly. Because if you have a child born in 2010 or later, then you are actually parenting a generational alpha. And of course, Generation Alpha began being born, like we said, in 2010. The year the iPad was launched, Instagram was created, and an app was the word of the year. So the group is more than any other in history, and of course extensively connected to and shaped by their peers. They are connected 24/7 across social, geographic, and as well as demographic boundaries. So the big question is understanding all those things, yeah? How does raising a Generation Alpha look like, okay? So that is what we want to focus on the conversation today. Be sure to stick around until the end of the show. But again, just to give us like a better scope of what exactly is a Generation Alpha, well, let's first of all get to understand who exactly are these people. So Generation Alpha, and this is a group of young people born between, like we said, 2010 and up until 2024, that is next year, December, all right? And then the term Generation Alpha was coined because this generation is seen as the start of something new. Like we said, a generation of many fasts, okay? And then when this generation is complete, like we said, in December 2024, Generation Alpha births will total almost 2 billion globally, and they will become the largest generation in the history of the world, all right? So what are some of the unique aspects about the Generation Alpha very quickly? So they are the first generation to grow up entirely in the 21st century, all right? And of course, being raised by the digital natives, that is, we're talking about the millennials. And then they live in the age of artificial intelligence. And of course, I'm pretty sure if you are a parent, you have seen this, okay? Like, I mean, the minute they're born, they know how to, operate a mobile phone, okay? And so many other things, which again, we'll be looking at as we continue. And then last but not least, they will experience things we cannot imagine today. And one of the things that, again, research, said, is the fact that most of the jobs that they'll be, working in later on does not even exist right now, okay? But of course, with technology and all those things, there's so many things that, challenges that they are, meant to face at some point in their lives. And one of the things is reduced attention span and concentration, all right, because of all the screen time that they are getting. And then there's less time for socializing because, again, they're very busy on their phones or their iPads. And then the less development of creativity and imagination, as well as reduced ability to achieve happiness. So these are some of the potential challenges that, again, Generation Alpha is most likely to face. So today we have a very simple question for you, and this is to all the parents who are watching us today, the caregivers, and everybody who's involved. And this is as far as raising a Gen Alpha. A very, very simple question for you, okay? And the question is, has technology impacted how we raise the Generation Alphas? And remember, like we said, this is between the ages of 0 to around 13 years, right? So has technology impacted how we raise the Generation Alphas? I can see a number of you have a lot to say, and this is on our social media platforms, and of course, specifically on Facebook. But again, you can reach us on Facebook or on Twitter, and it is at NTV Kenya. Tag me as well. That is at Lubembe_Winnie. But like I said, the question is very simple. Has technology impacted how we raise the Generation Alphas? And remember, this is, the ages between 0 to 13 years now. So before we look at some of your feedback, let me introduce my guest, a very, very full panel. If you ask me, and on my immediate left, we have Roseline Nekesa. Is it Nekesa?
Nechesa.
Nechesa. Okay, see, the CH is okay. Roseline Nechesa, who is a parent as well as a content creator. I did a bit of stalking, on your YouTube channel just to see what happens on there. Interesting content, I must say. So thank you so much for coming by today. How are you feeling this morning? And of course, with this topic because you have two amazing children, right?
Yes.
Are they both Generation Alphas?
Yes.
Whew. Hey, okay. You clearly have a lot to say.
Trust me, I do.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, but we look forward to hear what you have to say, and of course, based on your experience. And of course, in the middle, we have Dr. Beatrice Maingi, who's a counseling psychologist. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. It's a lot, right, that the Gen Alphas need to deal with.
Yeah.
But more so, I'm really curious about the parents to the Gen Alphas. But of course, you'll tell us how then do we raise these children, of course, who were born right in the middle of the digital space, you know, and artificial intelligence and all those things. Yes. And of course, last but not least, we have Esther Omboye-Ndirango, who is the head of early years education, PEFA Donholm Preparatory School. Yes. So good to have you this morning. How are you feeling? And I'm really curious as well, as far as then, so what exactly does teaching these children look like, right? Because now they're being raised by a totally different generation and taught by a different generation altogether. Is it easy? Is it difficult? Is it, you know, challenging? And what have you learned so far from interacting with this young one? So it's so good to have you as well, Karibu. But you're also a parent, right? To a Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
It's a lot, right? It really is a lot. But let me just start with you, Dr. Beatrice, understanding what exactly are Gen Alphas and where, you know, they come from and all those things.
Yeah.
And given they're being raised by a totally different generation.
Yes.
Where would you say we are at? And this is in terms of their development, right? Because I'm pretty sure you've had a lot of people say, hey, mimi hawa watu junior kina nani wametoka. They're totally different generation.
Yes.
So when it comes to like their development, right? What exactly does that look like compared to the previous generations?
Okay. So thank you also for having me. A very interesting topic on Generation Alpha. And I want to start with the positive.
Okay.
Because this is a generation that is globally connected, a generation that is growing too fast, generation that is culturally diverse. You know, they have interacted with different cultures.
Yeah.
They are able to do things beyond their age. And sometimes they have even overtaken their parents.
Yeah.
And that's why you have rightly put it that parents sometimes here we don't understand them.
Yeah.
Because the things they know, these are the people who will correct your English, your
so
pronunciation, your dressing.
Yeah.
You know, they know too much until sometimes you feel like there's a role reversal where they're actually teaching you, like they're the ones parenting you about how to live in the current age. Okay.
Yeah.
They know a lot. They know and understand very complex ideas.
Yeah.
Because, like you have said, by the time they are 5-6 years, they can operate very complicated gadgets.
Yeah.
Actually, as parents, we tell them, show me how to use this phone.
Yeah.
Show me how to use my iPad.
Yeah.
And before you know it, they have downloaded everything and they are teaching you how to live.
Yeah.
But then on the downside, because we are talking about age 7 to 12, an age where the brain is developing aggressively. And so we are looking at children who are being overly stimulated by these gadgets, by this information, and they are too young to handle all this. And so much
a lot of information coming in at the same
time. Ocean of information, you know. And so they are not able to process, or the brain is not able to process this all this information, all this stimulation. And that is now where the negative side of this overexposure comes in. Because the brain is still fresh. It's like wet cement. And we are putting imprints on this wet cement. And it only takes, you know, years for us now to start helping them to recover from the effects of what is happening right now. That is the generation that we are talking about.
Okay.
And like you have said, they are children of, you know, millennials who are also techno-savvy, you know, who are sometimes distracted, even as they raise these children. And, you know, today when we talk about traumatic experiences that children go through, one of them is being abandoned. And abandonment doesn't have to be physical, where someone walks away. Abandonment can also be emotional, where there is, you know, someone is there but they are not there. What we call an existential vacuum. That you are existing, yes, I can see you, I can touch you, but you're not there.
But you're not there.
You're not connecting. And that abandonment is something that we we deal with later as psychologists.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there is a, you know, the formation of close relationships is not there. So they grow up detached, they grow up, they grow up feeling abandoned, and this is an issue that may, unless there is an intervention in between, that may cause problems later
in the future. And that's why I think we're here today to just first of all start that conversation, helping as many parents understand who Gen Alphas are and how different then, you know, they need to sort of like be parented. Because, you know, for us when we're growing up, most of us, you know, millennials, unachapwa, and that's it. But then again, then we had this other generation where you sit in a corner and think about what you have done and have more of conversations, you know, as compared to, you know, being chapwed. There are some who are being chapwed now, but it's still okay. So then how do we do that so that we don't have to deal with cases of abandonment, you know, cases in future? But Rosalie, let me bring you in. So 2 Gen Alphas in the house.
Yes.
First of all, how old are they?
I have a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old.
And an 8-year-old.
Yes.
Handful. Right? So what is it like? What is it? First of all, like your idea of parenting then versus the experience of parenting them now. Is it something that you had imagined or thought of, or is it completely different?
You see, it's, as you've said, for us, we grew up being chapwad.
Yes.
So that is what I knew. That's how I knew parenting should be.
Yeah.
And you know, being a millennial, I've also raised my siblings who are in the Generation Z.
Yes.
So it's been kuchapwa.
Yeah.
So that's how I knew parenting should be.
Yeah.
And then now you come here, I have 2 alpha kids. One of them born in a generation whereby, let me say, the environment, by then I didn't have a smartphone, I didn't have a smart TV. So I can say the experience is a bit different for my firstborn. Up to a certain age, now when I came to own these things. And if you compare the experience with my second-born, born in these things, totally, I can say not totally different, but there's a bit of difference. Yes.
Okay.
But for me, I can say I still kind of apply kuchapa.
Okay. to some level.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and there are times when I realize it works. There are times it doesn't work. You have to embrace dialogue at times. Yeah.
All right. So how different are they? Like, listen, like you said, you sort of assume the role of a parent to your other siblings, which is like a totally different generation from what you have in the house now. So comparing the two, I mean, how different are they? Because you're here to represent all the parents who are like me. I do not know where these little humans came from.
Trust me. At times you are like,
what is it like? What, like, who are they? Like, what do they do? How do they think? How do they perceive things? Like, it's just a whole lot of things.
I can say for like, if I compare, let me say my siblings growing up, there's a time like you can tell someone they know technology, but at the same time they embrace kuchapwa style that you grew up knowing. So there are people that at some point you can at least reason with. Yeah, so that one is not so badly off. But compared to what I'm doing right now, my own children, I'll find like my daughter. She's been watching a cartoon. She knows Masha, when she's done something else, she said, "You are grounded for 2 days." So she's expecting me to ground her for 2 days when she's doing something wrong. I'm like, I don't have time to ground you, my dear. I don't even have a big spacious house to tell you are grounded in the bedroom. So for me, I can say there's a big difference between raising my siblings, Generation Z, and my own children. But either ways, for the 2 generations, dialogue plays a very big role.
Absolutely, absolutely. I hear you. And let's go back to the schools now, right? Esther, what is it like? First of all, just interacting with this generation. What is it that you've learned about them? The things that you've picked in terms of, number one, because again, like research said, they might have a bit of an issue, especially when it comes to the concentration, you know, and the amount of time, right, that they're able to concentrate. So, is this true? Is this what you encounter?
Yeah, it's very true. Actually, let me start with the positive too. Actually, I want to appreciate the far we've gone with technology, because so far so good. There's this national goal of education, which was somehow neglected, the international consciousness. So far so good, our children are able to to access and see what other children are doing in classes in other countries. Say, for example, in US, they can see what children are learning, how they do those activities. So to me, that's a positive part of it, and it's a plus.
Okay.
But when we come to the attention and all that, like, for example, today is a Monday.
Okay.
In most homes, you'll find that Fridays are movie nights. We have Saturdays. Some are also using the same as movie nights, you know. So it's just screen time throughout the weekend. So most of the Mondays, you find these children sleepy. The concentration is just low. So you find that you have to engage them so much in active activities. You know, going out to do some refreshments. If at all you have to give them indoor activities, it must be very active to engage them, because failure to that, they will be dozing off as you teach.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So far, actually, with even the kind of education system we have, children are more engaged because there is that practical learning, or either the hands-on learning. So in most cases, they are engaged. Not unlike the way it was before. It was just theory. Mwalimu anakuja, maybe it's maths, explaining and leaving, you know?
Math.
Yes, in the afternoon. And you've taken ugali for lunch, you can imagine. So the teacher will just unleash the content, actually leaving the content incomplete to our brains. But right now, we are not dealing with the content, we are dealing with developing skills. So at least these children are lucky, because we've tried to understand them. We are trying to catch up with the digital world, because these are digital babies, and we must embrace that.
Absolutely, and adapt as well. Again, because like we said, they're being parented by a different generation, taught by a totally different generation. So, and I'm curious to find out, so do you find yourself doing a lot of like catching up, right? Because again, the way we were taught in schools is not the same way we expect the Gen Alphas to be taught in schools. Because again, like you said, I mean, 15, 20 minutes in, you might find yourself talking to yourself, because they're gone, you know, completely gone. But I'm also curious to also get your experience as a parent raising a Gen Alpha. Is it somehow different in terms of like, are you sort of like able to, because then you interact with them in schools, so you sort of like know what they need, to what level they can concentrate, and then what else happens, as compared to Rosaline, you know, and a parent too, just parents them, but also creating content with the same. But is it easier for you?
Yeah, okay, you see, as a teacher, I apply what we do in school. There's a timetable. There's time for everything.
All right.
So even at home, there's a timetable. There's time for everything.
Okay.
So I limit screen time.
Okay.
The specific time you have to go to use the tablet, or either to watch, and there's a specific time you have to concentrate on other important issues.
Okay.
Yeah, I also embrace Kuchapa, but again, I realize it's not working that well. Yeah. So I withdraw. Okay. I normally use the withdrawal method of privileges. Like I hide all the gadgets. I make sure I disconnect even the Wi-Fi and everything, you know, just to punish, you know, to inflict that pain of not observing the boundaries.
And not having what you want the most,
that is
to have. Okay, all right. So all this screen time, you know, Dr. What exactly is it doing to the brains, right? I mean, especially when it comes to like development, because again, like you said, they're like sponge. They, you know, would absorb everything. So if we do not have some bit of balance and boundaries, of course, this will have an impact, you know, on them. So this whole question about technology and screen time and, you know, everything else that they need to sort of like quote unquote function, because they are in the digital space, what exactly is it doing to their brains and, you know, development?
Okay. I think one of the things that has been mentioned by all of us is about the sleep deprivation. Because when they spend a lot of time on the screens, it means that they're taking away the sleep time. And like she has rightly put it, when they go to school, they are sloppy, they are sleepy. And when you observe that kind of you know, or the way the child is behaving, it tells you what is going on in the brain. Because sleep deprivation, of course, will make someone get disorganized. They, you know, they'll not think quickly on their feet. They are slow to respond. You know, slow response. And again, one of the things that happens when children are exposed to too much screen time is about impaired cognitive development, meaning that you see, there is a part of the brain that is responsible for reasoning, making decisions, making judgment, and that is the part of the brain that shrinks because of overuse of screen time. meaning that even the IQ of the child may slightly go down.
Yeah.
You can imagine someone who is slow in reasoning, and you're expected to learn and reproduce that information. There'll be a problem.
Sure.
Okay. Then also the fact that they get excited when they watch the movies, they use the screens. You know, the part of the brain that gets excited, you know, they get excited because of that. And that becomes their source of pleasure.
Yeah.
And so when you introduce other natural things that should give someone pleasure, like you buy someone a new pair of shoes, or you give them nice food, it doesn't reach that level of excitement
that they get when
they get.
Oh,
you see,
yeah.
the dopamine level, the rush in dopamine level, meaning that that is the only thing that can get them to that level of excitement. And that's why you find that, you know, children, some of them, they are not interested in the natural things that would excite other people. You know, like you buy something for a child, you know, in later years, you know, in earlier years, they'll be so happy. A new dress, a new pair of shoes.
Is it because maybe we got them like on special occasions like Christmas, Easter, all of those things?
But today you're buying them and they just put it aside and they're
like,
back on the gadget, because it's not giving them the level of dopamine that they get from using the gadget and interacting with their friends online. So that is one of the things, and also the impact on their social skills, because they interact with the online community, such that when you put them now to interact with children, other children, you find that they spend very little time together, and then before you know it, they are all on their gadgets.
It's like, yes, we're together, all of us, but everybody is on their own gadget. Okay, I'll come back to you to then understand. So then what will this inform the kind, you know, the kind of people they will become, you know, in the next, what, like 10, 15 years from now? Because the whole question about Gen Alpha, you know, it really comes down to, again, 5 areas like we talked about: the digital, the social, global, mobile, and visual as well. And if all these things are impaired, then what kind of generation will we have? You know, and what kind of parents will they be, you know, in future? But let's take a break. Remember, the question that we're asking you today is very, very simple, right? And it is, has technology impacted how we raise the generation alphas? That is the question that we're asking you today. So if you are a parent to a Gen Alpha, interact with us either on social media, that is at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter, or better yet, give us a call. We'd love to hear what you have to say as far as this conversation is concerned, and that is on Generation Alphas. But all that is coming up after the break. Stay with us. This is Your World. All right, welcome back. The show is Your World, and of course today it's a very necessary conversation, if I can say that. And this is as far as raising the generation alphas, which again, like we said, this is a generation of young people born between 2010 and up until next year, that is 2024. In December is when we have, you know, that's that bracket as far as Gen Alphas is concerned. And this term was coined because this generation is seen as the start of something new. It's like a generation of first, right? They are an entire generation that was born specifically in the 21st century. So parenting, that means that it's centered to 5 areas that, again, we're focusing on today. This is as far as the digital, social, global, mobile, as far as, I mean, as well as the visual, you know, aspect is concerned. So parents who are raising Gen Alphas, how exactly is it? And has technology impacted how we are raising this very important and very special generation who are born in the artificial intelligence and digital space? Yeah, so let us know at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter, is how you can reach us, or better yet, give us a call. Like I said, the numbers are down on your screen. But let me just read what a few of you are saying. Someone says, this is Gabriel Lomondi on Facebook, says, ours is a failed parenthood full of excuses. Yeah? Continues to say, technology is here to stay. Let it not be the excuse as to why our society is headed towards a particular direction. As a matter of fact, the technology in Kenyans claim they are utilizing is just but a drop of what others in countries like Japan, China, and South Korea utilize. But compared to us, the moral standards of the children and parents in those countries have remained intact. So it's like what you choose to do with the technology, all right? Okay. Then someone else says, YouTube, on smart TV has really helped my 6 years daughter. This is Al King on Facebook still. Continues to say she can now operate a computer, play games, take photos, call on phone, etc. Her understanding on almost every apparatus at home is top notch, unlike our generation, which feared touching a remote or putting water from a dispenser. I hear you. I really, really hear you. Okay. And then someone else says, this is Santos KE, says the alpha, where kujibu maswali kama hizi pale high school, ulikuwa tu unaanza kuhesabu mabati na kulala. But this one's a very like outspoken and all those things, which is interesting to hear. And then someone else says technology has a lot of impact to this generation. It comes with lots of both good and bad characters to our kids, but it has helped in a very great way to educate our children. All right, so keep interacting with us. I'll be reading more of your feedback as we continue with the show. And remember, the question is very, very easy. Has technology impacted how we raise Generation Alphas? All right, and remember, this you know, generation born between 2010 and next year, 2024. But Rosaline, so again, like I said, I did a bit of stalking, right? And watched a few of your content that you create with your children. Yes. And again, like I said, one of the research actually said that the Gen Alphas are more of creators as compared to consumers. I mean, I think us millennials and Gen Zers are more consumers. Yes. You know what is on the internet, but the Alphas are more of creators. So do you see this with your kids? Like, are they more receptive? Like, let's do a video. We're like, hallelujah, yes, let's do it. What are we talking about today? Do you see that? Like, do they get excited about creating content?
I see it a lot. In fact, let me say for this week, I have not posted any video. Okay. So they're the one pushing me. In fact, they keep pushing me. Mom, we've not done a video this time. I'm like, my mind, no, we can just even play a game. They are always ready.
I mean, they're giving you ideas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for my son, in fact, I see he's embraced things like videography. Okay. He's like, Mom, I think the camera should be here, should be doing like this. While the girl at times takes the phone, she's all over, hi guys. So I see them embracing content creating, and at times you'll find them in the bed, they're locked up in the bedroom, and they come with a video. We are doing this dance challenge, you have posted on TikTok. I'm like, no, before you post, let me see, approve, then you can post. Okay. But they're embracing it very well.
So then, does it become a huge challenge when it comes to then monitoring, first of all, what they're doing, you know, on the internet? Because again, having all this exposure, it means they're also at a greater risk of, you know, things like cyberbullying, you know, and all those things. So how then do you do it in terms of, balance? This is the time that we allocate for creating content, for example, versus, you know, schoolwork and all those things, but also be like, do you find yourself constantly monitoring what they are consuming online?
Actually, I have to, because I can say, like, for their tablet, I have had to uninstall some apps, apps that I'm not so in touch with. As far as, you know, they have this game they play, Roblox. I am not so familiar with that. Is all about. So I'm not so familiar with Roblox. I understand it's a space where they connect with other children from like globally. So at that point, you don't know who this kid is connecting with. So I have limited some things to strictly my phones. So if you have to do this, do it from my phone, so that from my phone it's easier for me to know what you're doing. TikTok I have disabled from their tablet. If they need to use TikTok, use my phone. I need to know who you're following, because you're following someone, then it's me following that someone. I need to know if you're constantly watching. The good thing about these platforms, if you're watching, let's say, cooking videos, it will recommend more of those cooking videos. So considering personally, I may not be on TikTok actively, but whenever I go, I'll see what's recommended. And I know this is what they're constantly watching. So there are times when they have done a challenge, they have posted, I see the comments, I'm like, no, delete this one. Because we also have pedophiles out there.
True, 100% yes.
So you might, your kid may be posting innocently, but you have pedophiles who are preying on them. So you cannot just let them do anything anyhow. You have to be constantly monitoring.
Is it like a constant battle then? It's like, Mom, it is. This is what we're doing. But then you're like, no. So it's like constant fighting in there.
Actually, there are times, okay, this or a dance. Like, Mom, this dance you have to do maybe the doy. I have to remove my shirt and no.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's how the challenge is done. Like, then you don't have to do that challenge.
Yeah.
So they can't just have their way.
Yeah.
If you just let them have at some point you have to learn to say no, because if it's yes, 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 then
all the time,
you will lose them.
Absolutely.
In the process.
100%. Sure. Okay, and we'll also talk about how then they're also helping the previous generations, and especially when it comes to the internet and all those things you're talking about. Like they go, whatever they do to the grandma or the grandpa's phones is like, I have no clue what these guys are doing on my phone.
Sure.
But then again, so still in school, right? Like we asked earlier on, do you find yourself then doing a lot of catch up, just to make sure that you also understand, like come to their level sometimes? Because again, like we said, when you're dealing with kids, sometimes you just have to come down to their level, right? So that you're able to sort of like communicate and, interact better in school. So what is it, that you've had to do just to make sure that there is a bit of an understanding? And you also employ these at home, because you're also raising the Gen Alpha, like we said.
So actually in school, with the new education system, after every topic, we have to embrace digital literacy, whereby after we develop a skill, we have to allow them go and search for more information concerning the content.
Okay.
Yeah, so at least now that because as she said, they enjoy being online more than having physical human activities. So when we take them, like for example, in a computer lab where maybe we were doing something to do with plants and all that. So when they Google and find out more about this, they become more active and they enjoy learning. So they always look forward for such sessions whereby we are going to integrate the digital literacy. Yeah. At home, I do the same. Anytime my son will tell me, like, we've been given an assignment to do some online research or something, we have to research together. And another thing that has really helped me, I have synchronized all my gadgets.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're able to monitor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime he visits any site, I get the notification. Actually, there's a time he tried to have some mail. I don't know mailing who and who. I would be the first one to receive the mails.
Okay.
I read first. So it has really helped me to monitor what he's doing and the kind of, even the games he engaged in. Like you see this age, they like engaging in that Roblox kind of game. And when they interact with other children outside the world,
all over,
you never know what kind of character they pick from there.
That's true.
Yeah, you never know how it can change their personality. Yeah, but as we said, somebody mentioned there, there's some negligence, which I can say it's true, because you see, we are supposed to be role models. When I'm at home, I need to have that time with my kids. Yes, it's me with you. I keep all the gadgets aside, it's me with you, so that I can know how my children are. Unfortunately, even the children who are brought to school, especially the beginners, they come, a child is almost 4, 3, maybe 5 there, but the speech is not yet fully developed. They have this baby talk, you understand? Yeah, so you realize there's that kind of delayed development in speech. And reason being, too much screen time. Yeah, so they lack that human kind, physical human interaction. And it even interferes with their social skills.
That's true.
Yeah, they find that they cannot be able to interact with other kids around. They don't know how to play kids game. Like they would play kati, would play the hopscotch down there, so they don't know such games. The finger play, you're the one who is introducing them to. Thank God to this new curriculum, because we are now teaching physical activities.
It's more like hands-on as compared
yes,
to,
it's theory and we have the practical. So what you teach in class, you take them out and do it practically. So at least it's helping to balance between digital literacy and the other human physical activities.
Yeah, like physical activities, which is, I mean, it's important, right? Because then, excuse me, you're able to like interact with us and even just like problem solving, right?
Problem solving,
which again, we don't see that now. And I mean, I was also reading this and they were saying, you'd find that most of the parents, millennials, right? A lot of people are working from home right now. And then also the kids at some point, especially during COVID, they had to also learn from home. So you want to concentrate at work, but then again, your child is here. It's like, what shika isi muenda, right? So by doing that, it's like we're detaching, we're not able to monitor and all those things. So create a bit of a rift as well at home. But at the same time, so I have 2 things for you, Daktari. Number one, I mean, like we said, digital skills is necessary now. We cannot wish technology away. It's here to stay and, developing even further as we continue along. But at the same time, there's also that aspect of critical thinking. Again, I think that you mentioned, which is very, very necessary. So then how do we balance, right? Make sure that, yes, it is good to have the digital skills because, again, you need it now. But at the same time, what about these other soft skills that they might not have, you know, like Esther mentioned? But something else which I think is very, very important is their mental health, right? How do we ensure that they're sane, number one, but they're also safe, right? Because again, like we said earlier on, we do not want to have a generation where years down the line, you know, cases of mental health is really, really on the rise. I mean, we're seeing that now, but we want to, you know, sort of like prevent that in the future. And what are some of these, first of all, potential mental health, you know, conditions that might need to deal with?
Okay, this generation, whether we are talking about Generation Z, Generation Alpha, whatever generation, a child is a child.
At the end of the day, I like that.
At the end of the day. And the needs of children, they don't change. Maybe the delivery of the services to meet those needs is what may be changing. Okay? But the needs of the child remain the same. And the children that we are talking about here, about maybe 5 to 12 or 7 to 12 years, psychology has put it from time immemorial that the need of this child is, this is the time when the child is asking the question, can I make it in this world of people and things? That is the existential question that every child is asking. Everywhere, global, can I make it? Because the challenges are more. This is when the challenges in school are becoming more. Remember, they are at the stage in their school where they are getting positions. You are number one or you are number last. You know, in the earlier stages, you only tell them good, you don't give them positions. But as they age, they increase in age, you start giving them positions. And you start giving them homework, and the challenges are more. So the child is asking, can I make it in this world of people and things? And so the parent becomes very crucial at this stage to give this child affirmation, to encourage this child. And so what I would say is, whatever we are doing, whether we are in the digital world or not, let us bring back human contact. Human
Go back
contact.
to the basics. A child is a child.
Go back to the basics. Like the Christians sing, old-time religion. You know, we have 5 A's that I can talk about. Even as we talk about the digital age. The needs of a child. One is the need for attention. Creating time to be with that child. That is how they feel valued. That I have time for you. That I can leave what I'm doing to just come and be with you. To just come and attend the parents' day in your school. To come and watch you play. You know, in school, I have time for you. Yes, I'm the CEO of a big organization, but I have put that aside and come just for you. Attention. Okay. The other A is the A of approval. I like what you do. And that's why I'm saying let's bring back human contact. So that you give them more opportunities for you to give them approval. They want to hear that, well done, daddy. Well done, mom. You've done well. Keep trying. You know, approval. This builds their resilience. It builds their initiative, because when you tell them, I like what you have done, they will do even more, so that they can hear that. The other A is the A of acceptance, that it is okay to be who you are. In comparison to your brothers, to your sisters, to your neighbors, to your friends online, it's okay to be you, to be who you are. Because what you find today is that children are working so hard to improve their digital image, while ignoring their real image.
That's true.
So you'll find a child is busy in a bedroom that is so untidy, so dirty, but their image online
on social media is it's like 2 different people.
It's perfect, you know. So it is okay to be who you are. And then the other A is the A of admiration, that I can learn from you. Even as we talk about the negative side of the digital world, sometimes they show us things. When they show us how you to operate a gadget, oh, I can learn from you. You're encouraging them. You're giving them approval. And then the A of affirmation. I celebrate your existence. Just because you are my child, that is something to celebrate. These are the needs of every child in the world. So even as we talk about the alpha generation, let us be present as parents. Because children will enjoy presence more than presence. Because, you know, sometimes, like you have said, a child is coming to distract you when you're busy, and you tell them, hey, take this phone.
Yes.
So you want them to give you time to do to do your work. So, but affirmation, I celebrate your existence. What is it you want from me? Give me, you give them time. And like we have said, as parents, we really need to be engaged, involved in what they're doing. Not being snoopy, but just being aware of what is it that they're watching. What is it, who are these that they are interacting with? Because the problem that we have today is that many parents are living under the rock. I don't know how to operate those gadgets. I don't know how to put on this TV. I don't, it's like you look so archaic that you become almost irrelevant to the child. Okay? They want to know that you can help them in one way or another. But when you become like a gray rock that has nothing to offer, then they will look for the help from
somewhere else. For them.
And that help is not filtered. You may not know what they're interacting with. So we have to try and not really catch up with them, but at least be familiar with some of these things that they're doing. We also need to be relevant to them. And we also need to create time to be with these children, be their friends, so that even when they encounter issues like cyberbullying and all that, they can come to you. They can feel safe to come and tell you this is what is happening. So maybe what I would say is that children are children.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
Baseline.
And their needs remain the same. So we must be alive to what are the needs of these children, especially at this age, because different ages require different approaches.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I like that. Okay. So Rosaline, then, would you say parenting at Gen Alpha has sort of changed you as a person?
It has, actually. It has. I've had to accept that I'm a millennial and that what worked
sometimes
for my
they make you feel old. It's like you're 25.
I've had to accept that what worked for my parents when they were raising me may not necessarily work for me when I'm raising them.
True. Yeah.
So I've come to accept that we are here, the digital world is here. So we embrace it and learn to use it the right way. I'll say something. The other day, I think it's like 2 weeks ago, we had so much news about LGBTQ. So my son was like, what is that all about? I was like, how do I approach it? How do I tell them? But then again, I came to realize if I do not explain this to him, he will go find out from the internet, from someone else. If he goes to the internet and types LGBT, it will come with different definitions, pictures, videos. So it will give him more than what probably I will have. Or I will have maybe found better words or better way to explain it. So it has really, I can say it has changed me. I have accepted that dialogue works. And like our days, right now, I can actually tell my daughter, sit here. No, you know, this is wrong. You have to do this. You don't talk to grown-ups like this. Skuze to slap.
You don't even think about before you come to the dialogue part, the damage has already been done. So you've learned the dialogue works. I like that. All right. We literally have to, end the conversation, but I also want to hear from you, Esther, in terms of then understanding how things have changed and even changing the approach as far as teaching, and interacting with this children. So then again, so what has worked and what has not that needs to have improve so that we have a better understanding of the needs of these children, especially when it comes to education?
Okay, so unfortunately, we are still using the millennial and the Generation Z digital resources. So far, so good. We are not where maybe we can expect to be. But what has really worked for us like teachers, with especially this new curriculum whereby we just have to embrace digital literacy, it has really improved creativity and imagination, critical thinking and problem solving, self-efficacy. Mtoto anajituma tu, like when you give them, you just develop the skill. And then you teach them how to search for information, what information to search and how to search for it. So it has even given us an easy work because we give them they learn to learn. So we give them just a tip of what they're supposed to learn and they even learn more with our guidance. So we keep on monitoring what they're maybe finding out or either what they're researching about just to ensure that they are safe. Also, when you look at this digital literacy, you find that even someone said there, even a 4 or 5 year old is able to look for information from maybe YouTube and the rest.
100%,
so maybe what I can advise parents is to, if they can manage to synchronize all their gadgets so that they can be able to get notification of which sites their children are visiting, because we can't run away from this fact that digital, the internet is here to stay.
It's here to stay.
And where we are in terms of digital literacy, we cannot run away from it. We cannot shy away from it. So we just need to embrace it and to help these children catch up. Yeah. Also, I would like to encourage parents to create time for their children, apart from just providing the gadgets and everything. Because you find that sometimes these children suffer kind of emotional syndrome, whereby they just want someone to click on, to cling on and to be there, you know. So actually, my time, I never called any of my class teachers in primary. But nowadays, I receive calls from my pupils. Hi, teacher, are you fine? Over the weekend. Yeah, what are you doing? I'm just relaxing. Say hi to people. Oh, mommy is not around, you know. So that tells you they miss that family time, you know. So we need to create that family time for our children, that despite the fact that we are their parents in school and we stay with them and we give them that motherly care and all that, you also need to be there as a parent 100%. To create that kind of emotional attachment, more so with the girls. And the teenage now, they really have a lot of questions, and if they lack someone to ask such questions, who will be there next? They will search about it, and they will get wrong information. So we need to be there for our children.
Thank you so much, Esther. Very, very profound. Don't just give them the gadget, also help them, because again, like we said, you need to. I mean, for you, and especially for the teachers, preparing them for the workforce. And I know most of the jobs that they will be doing in the next years does not exist now, but at the same time, like we said, some of these soft skills they can actually learn, so that they can also pick up later on. Okay, so let's just bring this to a close in terms of then understanding everything else that we've talked about and all the needs, that these children need. So for the parents, so then what is it that they need to do? And especially when it comes to, yes, create time. I know that might not 100% be possible to have, your child there with you all the time, but just making sure that number one, they are safe, you understand them, there's a bit of proper communications, especially when it comes to raising them and teaching them some of these things. What sort of communication skills do parents need to apply? And I'll take that as your partition.
Yes, okay. Parents, like we said, they need to familiarize themselves with who this generation is and how to communicate with them, so that their advice will be taken by the children.
Okay.
They need to teach them family values. What does this family stand for? And like she has said, they need to be present. It may sound like a cliche, because it is when you're present is when you will notice when your child has started changing. It is when you will notice if there is a difference in how they are behaving, and then you can correct it in good time. Children need to be guided. So parents need to understand, what are the needs of my child, this child who is 5 to 12 years. What is it that I need to do, so that later on they will not be recovering from the mistakes that I'm making today. Because today, if you visit the prisons, the rehabilitation center, some of the mental health facilities, the teenagers who are there are actually recovering from their childhood. Some of these things that we are talking about here. And so parents need to be intentional. What kind of teenager do I want from this 5-year-old? So exactly what do I need to do for me to get there? What are some of the structures that I need to put in place? And of course, establishing a structure for this child, so that they are not just growing like maize, just growing without
they have a bit of a structure.
They have a bit of a structure.
I hear you, Dr. Beatrice. Thank you so much. I will literally being chased out of the studio, but Esther, thank you. I mean, Rosaline Nochesa, parent as well as a content creator. Thank you so much really for coming by today and giving us your insight as far as raising a Gen Alpha, and as well as Esther Mbwendirango, Head of Early Years Education, Pefa Donholm Preparatory School, Asante Sana, as well as Dr. Beatrice Mainge, counseling psychologist. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming by today. Such a wholesome conversation, and I'm pretty sure all the parents now know better as far as raising a Gen Alpha. Mikey, just give me 1 second to read this one comment. This is from George Jacodiere. Says, technology is at the center of everything we do today, right from how we interact, play with them, how they study in school. Technology is at the center. So we cannot wish it away, but, you know, decide how we can use it for, you know, to the advantage of our children. So we have to end the conversation here, but it does not mean that this is the end of it, all right? Let's keep the conversation going on our socials at NTV Kenya. Both on Facebook and Twitter, tag me as well at Lubembe_Winnie, as well as on our YouTube channel. So that, again, we equip ourselves with the right information so that we're able to raise, you know, a responsible Gen Alpha. But stay safe. God bless. I will see you tomorrow morning, same time, same place, right here on Your World. But until then, God bless and goodbye. Thank you.